Hey, Lorelia here. I am doing a video on the middle class is shrinking. If you are new to this channel, um, let me just introduce myself. My name is Lorelia Brown-Phillips, and I have over 300 videos on this channel that has to do with the topic of credit. But credit is not the only thing that I talk about on this channel. I discuss entrepreneurship, I discuss real estate, I discuss mindset, personal development. And so today I'm going to come to you with uh, a topic about income, a topic about debt, and also what the title is about: the middle class is shrinking. So earlier this week, I came across an article published by the New York Times about the middle class is shrinking, and the author um, of the article was really showcasing a book, or should I say, the writer was showcasing the article on the story of an author who wrote a book called Shrinked. And there's a co-title to it, but I can't think about it. I can't think of the name of it. And really, what they were discussing in the article was really how the middle class is really non-existent here in America. And primarily, the article really focused on adjunct professors and how the writer highlighted a series of people in the article who were adjunct professors and who were trying to make ends meet. The few people, I think it was about 3 people that they highlighted, made under $30,000. And so, really, to sum it up, is that people are primarily struggling. That's what I got from the article. And although the article kind of focused on academia, but we know that here in America, there are a lot of other people who have gotten affected by the so-called squeeze, to shrink. Because I think, yeah, that's it. The book was called Squeeze. It was either squeeze or shrink. And that's why I decided to do a video on this, is because the missing element that people don't seem to want to talk about. It's like the pink elephant in the room. I think a lot of people are really going through life with wishful thinking, in the way of, I really hope things can be like it was when my parents were young, in terms of, there was a time in middle America or middle class America where dad worked a job, and and he was able to provide for the family. And at that time, the late 60s, really the 60s, the 50s, the 70s, it wasn't until the 70s where things changed. That's when the American dollar became debt. And so by the time we got into the 80s, the dollar being debt, that the whole push for the 2-parent income household began to exist. So no longer was it just dad working, it was mom and dad working. You saw this big push for that in the 80s. If you study economics, you study history. And so now we're at a place, whereas the 80s and somewhat in the 90s, people were still able to live a very comfortable life in the middle class America with mom and dad still working. But then once again, another change happened. Late 90s on to the new millennium, 21st century. Not only is Mom and dad, and dad trying to make ends meet. Mom also is trying to make ends meet. So now you have two people who are in the household. Whereas 30 years ago, from that point on, from the 21st century, two individuals can bring in an income and be able to live a very good life. They would have a fine home. They could be able to take their kids, send their kids to good schools or what have you. And so now we're in the 21st century. And now, even with two parents being in the household, individuals still can't make ends meet. And so families in America feel squeezed, which is what the article talked about. But see, like I said, before I said all that, it goes back to wishful thinking. See, gone are the days where, you can live a prosperous life with mom and dad just going to work. Keyword being work. Because unfortunately, we live in a day and time where the one income, even the two incomes, is not going to be enough to suffice. Because what happens is that companies are no longer interested in you starting your career at a job and ending it. Now, I saw that change come into place when I graduated from college in the 90s. That was the whole, that's when that whole movement came, where jobs were downsizing, right sizing, eliminating pensions or what have you. So now we live in a day and time, not only are the pensions gone, the 401ks, but now the full-time worker doesn't even exist, because a lot of these large companies would rather bring in a contractor, pay them a high rate, but they don't want to deal with the medical or any other of the fringe benefits that a worker would get. And so when you talk about the shrinking of Americans, or the squeeze of Americans, the one topic that no one seems to talk about is the money aspect of it. Yes, Americans are more in debt. And that's why I've said over and over on this channel, I'm not new to the topic of credit. I'm not new to the topic of debt. That is only a very small piece. Because what is really affecting Americans is two things. It's lifestyle, which is tied to income, and it's inflation. Of course, there are other things that are a part of it too. For example, debt and credit or what have you. But let's just talk about lifestyle. No, I'm going to start with inflation. There is no way that a job can outperform inflation, because the way society and the job industry has it designed, you cannot outperform inflation. You just can't. And so that's why now we live in a day and time where I've said this so many times to people who I work with or I consult with. The mindset of the entitled. Okay, Matt said it's the mindset of the entitled. That plays a part, because it goes back to what I said a few minutes ago. People wanted to go back into, back to the days where the one income could suffice the household, or maybe even the two incomes could suffice the household. Now you can't even bank on that. We are in the times where you have to have another stream of income that comes into your household. Because the second thing that plagues individuals is lifestyle, which is what I call income. I don't care who you are in America. Yes, Matt. I don't care who you are in America. unless you are a billionaire, and even they may even think about this. But the working person, let's just talk about the working person. There is one thing that the working person always thinks about as soon as they get up in the morning. Will I have enough income to take care of me, to take care of my kids, to be able to put a roof over my head, pay the mortgage or the rent, car note, daycare, extracurricular activities, utilities, housing cost? That is what the average worker is always thinking about. Lifestyle plays a very big part. And so I find it very odd that your financial experts are still spitting facts from 30 years ago. Make sure you budget your money. Don't get me wrong. I get it. Yes, you do want to be diligent and a good steward over your money. But this is what I know. And it's just as me. Maybe I'm just special. When I didn't have no money, wasn't no budget gonna help me. There has been times when I didn't have any money coming in. What was a budget gonna do? Oh, I know. When I get some money, I gotta know to budget it. All right. Another thing that your financial experts always talk about is to get out of debt. How are you going to get out of debt when you don't have enough income? Because that average American that article talked about that is being squeezed, that family, whether it's a single person, whether it's a two-person household, they just have enough. They just have enough to pay the bills. And so what happens is debt begins to accumulate and accumulate. That is why I've said so many times, your ability to stay out of debt is connected to your income. See, your financial experts will not say that. What they will tell you is they will tell you just manage your money right, slay your debt, raise your credit score. I find that very odd that income is never in the equation. That's why I titled this, The Middle Class is Shrinking. I may change and say, is the middle class really shrinking? Because the pink elephant in the room is always money. Like, I always find it odd that people will come to me and say, Lorraine, I'm in debt. I want to pay down credit card debt. And then you give them a possible solution where you're looking at what they bring in, and you may say, you know what, I noticed they may not bring in enough income. Okay, let's work on some things to get you more income into your household because you're at the max. Like, I don't know. There's no magic to this. Like, I don't know. And I'll be honest with you. I don't know how to put 200 where 2,000 is supposed to go. And a lot of people that reach out to me, they're looking for a magic trick. I know I have $2,000 worth of debt. Oh, I know my bills are $2,000, but I only have $200. Like, there's no budget in the world that's going to help a person replace 2,000 with 200. It don't exist out there. Don't exist. So what's the missing piece? Now, I'm not going to say I'm the only one who came up with this, but the individuals that I do talk to, the ones that I'm able to share value to on my videos, is I cannot stress enough. Learn to bring in other forms of income. And I don't mean just a second job, because when you work the numbers, there's no tax savings because you're really paying more in taxes. So when you really look at it, so that's why I'm always trying to share with people. Find something that you can do in addition. You know, we live in a gig economy now. We live in a freelance economy now. What could you possibly do to earn extra income? Because this is what I'm going to tell you about your financial experts. And I can look and, you know, and I don't claim, I probably don't know everything about a person's business, but I can pretty much I'm pretty much sure that your financial experts, the only form of income is not just one. So I find it odd that financial experts will tell individuals how they need to manage this one income, get so creative to create a budget and get out of debt and raise your credit score with this one income, but they got about 6 or 7. They got this income, that income, that income. Some I personally know, especially here on YouTube. And I know they don't have no one income, but they trying to tell you, okay, this is what we're going to do. And I'm trying to say, you know, and that's why I go against the grain, saying something totally different than what people say. And they like, whoa, I'm not going to do that. No, I don't want to do that. I have no idea. I have no idea, because I personally think the reason why they don't talk about additional income is because they think that it probably is none of nobody's business. you know, well, and I don't know how to take that when you're saying, like, in terms of their additional income, or why they don't, you know, why they don't recommend additional income. So I'm really not clear. But if it's recommend additional income, I would say the reason why they probably do not recommend additional income, because a lot of times it may take the person who's getting the advice out of their comfort zone. And so the people who are giving the advice, if you're giving advice to people to manage your paycheck, okay, recommend, that's what I thought. Okay, it's just like I said, it will take a person out of their comfort zone, because remember, many of the financial advice is out there being given out there by your experts. They're always talking to the working person. So if I am telling you to add an additional stream of income into your household, into what I call your wealth portfolio, it's going to take you outside of your comfort zone. Because what people know is that people know I work a job, I go to this place of employment, I work these X amount of hours, I get this about a pay rate. So it's easy for a person to say, oh, you need additional income? Well, get another job. Because that, they know, is not going to take a person outside of their comfort zone. And then people are willing to take that advice. But then you have someone like me who's telling people that, hey, let's kind of show you how you can create some additional income. Is it going to cost you money? Yes, because why? It's going to require you to take on some skills, get uncomfortable, move some muscles that you never had to do before. It's the same way with working out. If I've never worked out before and I go to the gym and I have a coach there with me or a person to help me work out, they are going to make me move muscles I've never used. And so at the end of that workout, I'm going to be a little uncomfortable, because I've never used those. So the easy way to talk to the masses, going back to what the person said, why don't they? I'd rather just give a blanket advice to the masses, because I know my conversation is for the masses, and I know I don't want to get the masses uncomfortable. So I'm just going to tell them something that they are familiar with, that they're ingrained with, because remember, they've been educated into the American school system, so they know that. So if I start talking to them about, starting a business or doing something that requires them to now be in control of their own money, whereas they may have to take on a few more skills, they may have to invest in themselves, they may have to, they may not get results immediately. oh boy, people gonna give you a little pushback. And see, that's what I've noticed. Because even with myself, when I do give people recommendations, yeah, exactly. It's easy to give generic solutions. Oh, get a second job. And with that second job, use that income to, add a little money to your budget, slay your debt snowball, and get out of credit. And like I said, then what happens when you lose that job? And that's why with myself, I am an open book. And I tell people, I believe in having multiple ways of earning income. I believe in active, and I believe in having some type of passive and residual streams of income. Because what I'm starting to do now is I'm beginning to really open up the Rolodex so people can see, what it is that I do and how I'm earning money. Because the only reason why I'm very big on you need additional income is because I see it for myself. I'm not gonna really touch on this because I'm gonna save this for another video. That's why I will have broke business owners who will reach out to me and ask me how I can help them get business credit, and they don't even know how to get $100 from someone. And if they're lucky to do that, it's probably from someone they know. But for some reason, they want a magic trick when it comes to business credit. How can I get access to all this business credit, but my business ain't making no money? You see what I'm saying? It goes back to people want a very generic solution. And a lot of solutions aren't generic. Because, like I said, right now, I'm sharing what I call my wealth portfolio. What is my definition of wealth? Is to have more passive or residual income coming into your household, your bank account, and you have expenses. See, most of the time when people hear the word wealth, they think of Beyonce earning, what they say, $300 million from an IPO. So the whole wealth thing is totally off radar for them because they know, oh, I ain't gonna never have, I don't have Beyonce's money, and and since I don't have Beyonce's money, I wasn't able to, get dibs and to invest in Uber stock, and then when IPO hit the market to make $3 million. And I'm saying, no, bring it down to your standards. If I know I have expenses that come into my household of $5,000, what type of things can I do residually or passively that can bring me double that amount? So if I have $5,000 in expenses, what can I do that can bring me in double that? $10,000 in residual passive income. And for me, that is building my wealth. Because now I don't have to rely solely on my active streams of income, because there are parts of my business where I actively have to be involved. When it comes to real estate, I actively have to be involved. I actively have to look for deals. I actively have to make calls. I actively have to talk to investors. The money does not residually come in, because if I don't market for the deals, I'm not going to get deals. But then there are things that I do on the other side of my business, and those things come passively, and everything. Let me just say, sidebar, it's not a magic trick. Everything I do requires marketing, because I'm gonna share a secret. Years ago, and I usually just save this for clients that I invest in, but like I said, I'm going to bring this wealth portfolio Rolodex to the market. I'll never forget, I had a business coach, and he said that if you truly want to always know that you can make money, understand the industry of sales and marketing. Because, and then once you understand it, you want to be on the side where you're doing the sales and marketing. And so the people who are losing financially, they've been ingrained and indoctrinated that sales and marketing is bad. So they're on the other side. They're being influenced by it. That's why you got people who are buying Balenciagas. I don't even know how to say the word, can't even pronounce it, but trying to buy Balenciagas because they're on the other side of sales and marketing. Someone is marketing to them and influencing them instead of them being on the other side of the coin and learning how to be the sales and marketer. So I will say that part of my wealth portfolio allows me, in order for me to get that money, I have to do sales and marketing. The same way what I tell people with real estate. I said the one thing about real estate is I said 90% of what I do in real estate is marketing. It's not looking at houses. It's marketing. And marketing may consist of cold calling, sending out letters, following up. It's not going to see a lot of houses. Getting the leads. Oh, how can I forget that? Getting the leads, because most people who get into real estate, especially when it's wholesaler, they don't have enough leads. And as well as any other business. But I say that to say, if you know sales and marketing is the highest paid profession, is a profession that if you master, you will never go broke a day in your life. You'll never have a money problem. Why not be a student of it? Because your financial experts, they have mastered sales and marketing. That is why they're considered the expert, because now they've convinced a whole group of consumers that my advice is golden in terms of me, the expert. So I know I said a lot, but what could you do to sum this all up to prevent yourself from being part of the middle class that is squeezed? What can you do? And one is to really learn how the economics in this country work. And so that is what I'm doing more of. 90% of the people who come to me, they really think they have a credit and debt problem. And then when I pull back the layers of the onion, it's always income. They lack income. That is why I decided to now show people, because before I would just tell them, and then people would be like, oh, well, okay, well, what, how do I do it, this, that, and the other. So now I'm truly showing people. So what I'm doing is, if you're someone who's interested, I'm going to be sharing my wealth portfolio. And these are going to be different programs that will allow you to earn residual and passive income as an affiliate. I'm going to do a separate video on that. And once you become part of my email communications list, I will talk more about it. Now, this is what I will say. None of these programs that I'm going to recommend is a government giveaway. And so if you're thinking that it's just something that you just kind of think magically some money is going to fall in your lap, that's not this. It does take work. It takes investing and it takes work. But this is what I've noticed. Most people are spending their money on a whole bunch of stuff they really don't need to be spending their money on. Like I said, I don't even know how to say the word. What is it? Balenciagas or Balenciagas? I don't know. I don't own any. I don't own the brand. I don't own anything that the brand makes. But many of these same people who will say to me, I want to get started, but I don't have it. Like I said, they are influenced by the sales and marketing of America and of companies. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'm going to put the link underneath this video, but I'm doing a YouTube live, so it's going to take time to process. It's got to process, and then I'll put the link on later. But it's going to be a work in progress. So, depending on when you see this video, You may have the document where it's already in place, or you may get the work in progress one, because I really have to put my mind together on all the things that I know that brings in income, because a lot of people don't know, and it can pay you residually. So like I said, that's my story, and I am sticking to it. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it is the biggest solution that can keep you out of debt. When people ask, well, how do you stay out of debt? How you get out of debt? Hey, okay, Matt, you have a great evening as well. Is to invest in yourself. It pays the best dividends.